For those of you who just start joining us right now, I'd like to say welcome to a Blueprint Career Services presentation, Crack the Code, Outsmart the ATS. My name is Ann Park, and I'm the career strategist here at Blueprint Career Services. And I shared a poll with everyone asking folks what they think the response to this question is. What percentage of large companies use the ATS? And it seems like a lot of you put in 90%, most of you did. The actual answer is 70%, which might surprise some of you, but it's still a very high percentage of large companies that use the ATS. And so to me, this just demonstrates the importance of being here today for all of you who are applying to jobs, because we know that when you apply to large companies, 70% use the ATS. So let's sit in on this amazing presentation and find out how to outsmart the ATS. Next slide, please. First, I'd like to do a quick access check. Please put in the chat if you have challenges hearing me. Let me know if you have trouble seeing the presentation clearly, if there are any other access needs that might affect your participation. So please do. All good? Great. So we're just going to wait. Thanks, everyone. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Now we'd like to do a very important land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Next slide, please. I'd like to now take care of a few housekeeping items. Please remember to keep your cameras and mics muted during the presentation. Post all of your questions and comments in the chat. Questions will be responded to at the end of our guest speaker's presentation. Please note this session is being recorded and will be shared on our Blueprint Career Services portal. Before we introduce our incredible guest speaker, I would like to let everyone know a little bit more about what we do here at Blueprint Career Services, in addition to our very popular guest speaker presentations on Real Talk and Industry Insights. Next slide, please. So as you know, my name is Ann Park, and I'm the career strategist here at Blueprint Career Services, and I facilitate all of our incredible offerings here. And working in this industry for over 20 years, I've met a lot of really interesting individuals. And there is one common question that I get asked time and time again from folks who start working with me for the first time. So I'm just going to ask everyone in the chat, see if they would like to guess what that question is. So I'm going to, again, ask you what you think that is. So what is the number one question that job seekers who begin their work with me ask me, like in the first meeting? Any guesses? What am I doing? How do I get a job? Yep, these are all, thanks, Gurpreet. How do I beat the ATS? Yep. Any other guesses? What am I doing wrong? Yeah. Any other guesses? Where do I start? How do I get an interview? Yes, I get asked all these questions. Yep. ATS compatible? Can you find a job? What's your top? Oh, wonderful. Resume tips, interview stuff. How did I get my resume to an interview? Absolutely. Yep. How do I make my resume ATS and human compatible? Yes. Great. Well, these are all very good. These are all very good guesses. And I have been asked these questions time and time again. Are you hiring? I wish it'd make my life so much easier. Which percentage? The number one question, believe it or not, that I get asked for folks who come to me seeking support with their job search is, Ann, by working with you, can you guarantee me that I will get a job or the career of my dreams? And when I get asked this question, I always respond, no, I can't. But next slide, please. Next slide. Show me smiling. There we go. What I can guarantee is a commitment to working with you until you achieve your career goals. And I will help you every step of the way using my years of experience, knowledge, lived experience, and connections to those in various industries. Next slide, please. In fact, about 90% of the folks I've helped over the years do achieve their career goals through receiving support from me. Next slide, please. Sign up for our Career Nav one-on-one career strategist sessions with me. Sign up for our Clifton Strengths workshop, which is based on the science of identifying your top 5 strengths and how to utilize them to advance your career. The Career Wayfinding Series workshops, which is based out of the New York Times best-selling series Design Your Life, and the Alternative Careers Workshop, designed for those who are working in specific professions and who are interested in transitioning into alternative careers. For more information, you can contact us at ses.blueprint@utoronto.ca. Sign up now and expect the same level of high quality services that the University of Toronto is known for. Spaces fill up quickly, everyone. Go to our Blueprint Career Services website. Sign up now before it's too late. And of course, if you have any questions about what we do here at Blueprint Career Services, put them in the chat. Carla, my amazing colleague, would be happy to answer them. Or if you have experiences that you'd like to share with us with regards to working with Blueprint Career Services and the incredible support we've been able to provide you with, please put them in the chat too. Next slide, please. And of course, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn and find out incredible updates about what we're doing here at Blueprint Career Services and to find out more about me. Next slide, please. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Gurpreet Kaur Mann. Gurpreet Kaur Mann, a distinguished HR and career expert, stands apart with her innovative approach to career development. Trusted by major media outlets including CBS News, The Wall Street Journal, The Globe and Mail, and The Voice of America, Gurpreet has garnered recognition for her groundbreaking strategies. Known as the queen of the hidden job market, Gurpreet has earned acclaim for her ability to uncover hidden opportunities, even for those who dislike networking. Her methods have been proven time and time again to deliver remarkable results. In 2023, Influence Digest honored Gurpreet as one of the top 15 LinkedIn experts, further solidifying her status as a leader in the fields. Beyond accolades, Gurpreet is deeply committed to making a tangible difference in the lives of career professionals. Through her coaching program, Gurpreet has transformed the careers of thousands, with participants achieving remarkable success, often doubling or tripling their salaries in record time. As a career coach, Gurpreet specializes in positioning, messaging, marketing, and branding, and empowering her clients to become recognized as go-to experts in their fields, paving the way for lucrative careers. Let's welcome Gurpreet Kaur Mann.
You. Wow, what an intro. I need to record that. Oh, thank you so much, Carla and Anne, for having me here and making this possible. So thank you everyone to be here. First of all, I would like to start with, I want to acknowledge everyone that is here. So please give yourself a high five, a clap, round up, like pat yourself on the back, because you know half the battle is just to show up. But you did that. You put yourself first today and you made it here. So round of applause for you. So if everybody can clap, give yourself a high five. That's how I would like for you to start, because it does take time to even just to show up, right? It's not like as easy as it sounds. It can be difficult to just to show up. So high five to you. Before we begin, I would like to walk you through a little bit of a what I call is a little bit of a clearing your energy, your space, your mind, to then really set some tensions to what you want the session to be. So this would be like a 5-minute meditation to clear that space, set intentions, get in the right mind frame. So if everyone can just follow that along, that'd be great. I'm just going to share my audio with you guys. So if you can just close your eyes. Before we begin, actually, how about, let me take a step back. Before we begin, I want everyone to put the devices on Do Not Disturb. This is the best gift you can give yourself. Believe it or not, honestly speaking, we've been conditioned to believe that multitasking is amazing. Honestly speaking, it's not. It's not the most efficient, productive way to increase efficiencies. And it actually creates a lot of distraction. And I found it creates even more anxiety. So if you can put your devices on Do Not Disturb, that way, notifications can come through, but they're just not pinging you and your mind's not being distracted. I would love for you to be fully present in this moment. And it's a gift you can give yourself. So do that, take that moment, put it on silent, put it on Do Not Disturb. I always just put it on Do Not Disturb. So that way, no ping is coming through. Because let's be human. Like if you get that notification, obviously you want to see what it is. This way, out of sight, out of mind. And then after this session, you can, turn that on. So take that moment to do that. It'd be the best gift you can give yourself. Okay, so if everybody can just close your eyes. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me over the music. If you can, just please let me know in the chat. Okay, I invite everyone to close their eyes. Tune into the music. I've selected Reiki healing music. So as you listen to, you're also just getting a deep healing internally. So just relax. Take a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, like sigh it all out, like for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, take a deep breath in, inviting fresh new breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, as you exhale, just release the stress, the tension. Job search creates a lot of stress and anxiety. I just want you to let it all go. Just release tension. Just let everything go. Release everything out of your mind. Just let it all go. Let's take one more round of deep breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold that breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. I invite you now to put your hand on your heart.
No.
And just tune into your own energy, your own heart, your own soul. Feel your own power. And from this space, I invite you now to set intentions of what are you seeking out of today's session. What do you most need? My intentions for everybody on this call today is that you get exactly what you need to win in your job search. And whenever you're ready, I don't want to rush anybody through, so set your intentions. This actually will help really customize the session to be exactly what you want it to be. That's how much power we as individuals hold. Whenever you're ready, feel free to open your eyes and we will begin. Okay, so this is a tool that you can use throughout your job search. And it's actually a great tool to use because it, one, calms you down. It relaxes you as well. And then the intentions, getting really clear on your intentions help shape your reality. And this also helps create the job search results that you want. So leading your job search with intention, like intentionally leading. So be attention with your job search. I saw some questions in the chat, and when you come from an intentional space, the experience of the results you're going to get are magical. But when we come from a space of stress, anxiety, overthinking, we just create more of that in our reality. So I would love to say is this is something you should put into practice on daily and be very intentional with everything you're doing, especially with your job search. Just because you want to end up in the right job, working for the right employer, for the right boss, in the right environment, last thing you want is to end up in a toxic work environment. That's why getting clear on what you want and being intentional with it is so important. We all need a job, but we also want to be in an environment where we thrive and we feel safe and we feel happy and we love who we work with. So get really intentional with that. Okay, so let's begin the topic. Who's actually excited to be here? Drop hell yeah, hell yes in the comment. I want to feel the energy of the room of who is actually really excited to be here. Or you can do your own woot woot. Great. So amazing. So super excited. Yes, I'm super excited to be here as well. And also super excited to partner with Anne and Carla from UFT. Okay, so let's begin and just make sure that you keep yourself muted because this is being recorded and then the recording will get interference if you don't have yourself muted. So just keep that in mind. And then if you do, and also as I'm speaking, we want everyone to be able to hear the speaker as well, right? So just keep that in mind, keep yourself muted. Okay, so I want to address some of the comments, but it's going into my talk of outsmart the ATS and how to beat the ATS. Someone had an amazing question because I don't know who it was, but when I just know what is said, and it's the only person that actually is asking the right question. How do I make my resume compatible to ATS and human? I want to give a shout out to that person that wrote that comment because typically what I found is everybody focuses on the ATS and no one focuses on the human. Because there's two parts to this. There's an ATS and then there's a human being who's going to read your resume. So you do need to, okay, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Rodol. Is it Rodol? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But yes, you asked the most smartest question when it comes to this whole ATS game. So I always first thing I always like to say is if you really want to outsmart the ATS and you want to beat the ATS, don't apply to a job. I know this is going to shock everybody, but I'm going to first, I would like to paint a clear image of the reality that we're facing this very moment. Tech layoffs. Tech layoff has created a really hyper competitive job market. Like we've never seen it this way ever. I don't remember the last time it was like this. Not even in 2020. I feel I'm going to get into why it's this way. One, yes, it's the tech layoffs, but it's also technology. Technology keeps advancing, growing, and new things keep getting introduced. Like ATS is not a new thing. It was started to come up in the market. I know when I started my career in HR, the company I worked for didn't have an ATS, and then we eventually, so it wasn't just an ATS. We actually didn't have any HR system, and then eventually we got it. And fast forward to what's happening in the market right now. The reason many people are struggling in their job search more than ever today is yes, it's hyper competitive. Yes, because of tech layoff. But honestly speaking, it's the technology. We got AI in the mix. People were already struggling with ATS. Hope you got with the AI. I'm not a big fan of leveraging AI into recruitment, but companies are going to do it. And they're already doing it, especially the big companies, because they got them the means to introduce and implement AI into the recruitment. So what do I mean by AI? I mean, have you ever done a one-way interview where that's AI technology, by the way? I know banks rolled it out a few years ago, and more bigger companies are rolling out where they're actually doing pre-screenings through the AI system, right? So AI is also part of the ATS, by the way. So there's very different forms of ATS. And I'm not gonna like hit you down with what is all the different types of ATS, because honestly speaking, it's impossible for you to know all the different types of ATS because there are a dime a dozen in the market compared to like 2006 to where we are today, dime a dozen. Each do function differently, but I'm just going to give you the basics understandings of ATS that you need to know for your job search. Number one thing is ATS works differently depending on which one companies are using, but what you just need to know is one, make sure your resume is ATS friendly. If I'll pull up a resume that is ATS friendly. And when I say ATS friendly, it's the format, also the way you design it and the text. Avoid using columns, avoid using graphics. Not only ATS, but parse is another tool that an ATS uses when you upload your resume. So format's really important. Now, if you really, so I know in the beginning I said, if you want to beat the ATS and outsmart it, don't apply. I'm going to get to that segment in a minute, but I want to address what you're so comfortable right now doing is to apply to a job. So if you want to beat the ATS as you're applying to a job, a couple of things you have to keep in mind. One, I want to go over some facts and research and figures. Number one, I want to pose a question and everyone can drop their answers in a comment. What are your chances of landing a job? What are your chances of landing an interview from a single job posting? Drop your answer in the comment. What's your chances of landing an interview from one single job posting? Okay. Oh, someone nailed it. Sandra. 3%. It's 3% and less. So anybody that said 3%, 2%, 1%, you're correct. Your chances of landing an interview when you apply to a job online is less than 3% right now because of the hyper competitive job market. So you got to keep that in mind first. Number two thing that means is that 97% chance you're not going to land an interview. So automatically you need to be, okay, if I'm going to apply to a job online, how do I become the 3% that lands the interview? There's a couple of things that I'm going to walk you through that you need to keep in mind. Number one, go straight to the requirement section of a job posting. Read it and ask yourself, do you have all the requirements? I know typically people like to say, hey, apply anyways if you don't have the requirement. If your goal is to just have your resume sit on the ATS, yes, apply. But if your goal is to land the interview for this role, then don't apply if you don't have at least 80% or more of the requirements. Why? Because in this hyper-competitive market, someone already has everything that's outlined in the requirement section. So that's number one rule that I always walk my clients through. Let's aim 80% or higher. If you don't have the requirements, don't apply to the job. Number two things, you have the requirements, read the job posting, word for word. It's the time investment. Again, remember I said be intentional with your job search. This is where this is coming in. A lot of times people are not reading job posting and making a numbers game and just apply, and then fingers crossed that something will stick. That's the worst strategy in job search. It's not a numbers game. We got to get intentional. It's quality over quantity. So you should actually focus on job posting. About 20% of your time in your job search should be focused on the job postings. And what we want to do is customize that one resume to speak to that one job. Customization of resume is really, really important, word for word. And that takes easily an hour, 2 hours to do. I just did it for our client, even though we had the whole final resume. But before applying, we customized the resume. It took me almost 2 hours to do. You gotta match it for apple. So that's one aspect. Number two thing is the human element, right? So now and someone had a good question, is there any tools online that you can use to see how your resume is ranking up against the job posting? Yes, there's a tool called jobscan.com. There's a lot of tools out there, but I know the one really good one is JobScan. You put your resume and it will match it against the job posting. That would just give you a score of how well you're ranking up against the job posting in your resume. So that's a good tool to use. Next thing is, yes, we have to have the right keywords, word for word, and job posting will help you do that. The biggest component is the human being. The human being, you got to get your resume past the ATS in front of a human being, but the human being is the one that would decide if they want to interview. The machine doesn't. Okay, ATS, I call it a machine. The ATS is not, ATS, depending on which ATS company is using, but just keep in mind that goals should be get your resume in front of a human being when you are applying to jobs online. That human being is the one that's going to decide if they want to interview you or not. And the art to that is you got to get really good with words. Words are so powerful when we use them correctly. So the emotion that someone needs to feel when they're reading your resume, we got to invoke emotions. The other big thing is the human beings make decisions based on emotion. Whatever emotion it's going to be based out of an emotion. So the goal has to be that we get them to, one, we have 5 seconds to grab a reader's attention. We have another 5 seconds to keep it. This is where getting them involved in our resume storytelling is so important. So we hook them. We got to hook the reader. And then we got to take the reader on a journey. And the reader needs to be able to visualize it, picture it, feel it, smell it. So the five senses of a human is what we always need to hit on when we're using words, resumes. And then the biggest two emotions we want to invoke in the reader that's going to get them to call us is, oh my God, this is the perfect candidate. And then FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh my God, if I don't call this person, someone's going to pick this person up and I'm going to lose out on a great candidate. So that's what a resume should do. I'm going to show you how a resume should look like, which would be ATS friendly version. There's a couple of ways to, there's other versions, but I'm going to show you ATS version that I just did. This is like newly done, fresh off the boat. Now, the reason I'm going to walk you through this, I want you to look at the words. Common words people are using on their resumes. Everyone uses result-driven, problem solver, ambitious, driven, inspiring, innovative. A lot of people's resumes read the same way. If you just look at this resume, what I'm showing you in the beginning, I guarantee you it doesn't read like anyone else's resume. This is customly written resume. This is, okay, so what does ATS friendly resume looks like? This. You have text, no columns, even your skills, there's no columns. This is like the basic ATS format. So that it works for every ATS regardless of what ATS the company is using. Next thing is the human being, which makes it, we got to have white spaces in our resumes to make it easy on the eyes and it's easy to read and navigate that. So if you look at this, we have used a little bit of color to, again, grab attention. And then there's uniquely, the words impact, they're impactful, they're grabbing attention. And then it's like, oh my God, like this person can increase revenues by 130 million, like quantifying, matrix, numbers. The biggest thing is you got to speak money language. If you want to land interviews, you got to speak money language. Bottom line of every business is they're in the business to make money and profits. When they're not making profits, that's when we start to see layoffs, cuts, layoffs happen. Every single person in the organization is contributing to the bottom line of the business, revenues and profits. Okay, revenues minus expenses is profits. Even like service-based, I know this is a sales resume, so I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, this one's easy because sales is hitting revenues. But even me as HR, I contribute to revenues, I contribute to profits, cost cutting, saving overhead, cutting labor costs, streamlining processes, taking manual processes and automating them. That is all. I have a formula called money plus time plus savings is how you be able to quantify, and that's the value you bring to the table. Okay, so start to ask yourself, how are you generating money for organizations? Where are you cutting cost? Where are you speeding up time? So money, time, savings, right? So where are you saving? Where have you increased time or decreased time? And then the money is a little bit easier once you know those two things. Okay, so remember what I just said. Money, time, saving. We need to have these numbers in our resumes, but also how we talk. You gotta hit everybody on the numbers. And the biggest thing to do that is you need to know, what are you exceptionally great at? What are you an expert in? What have you mastered? You really want to beat the ATS and you really want to land interviews, this is how we do it. We can't be and sound like everybody. Honestly speaking, the worst thing to do is grab templates from online, the free sites, because you're going to sound like everybody else. And then, oh, the love of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a tool that needs to be used for brainstorming, but don't use it to write your entire resume. Okay. Now, my biggest talk is, well, how do we beat the ATS? How do we outsmart? So in the beginning, I said, if you really wanted to do this, don't apply to jobs online. And I'm going to show you a better way to job search to beat the ATS, and it doesn't require applying to jobs online. Now, why am I saying don't apply to jobs online if you want to beat the ATS? Let me share some stats and figures. Job postings make up, how many people, take a guess of how many jobs actually get posted? How many jobs actually get posted? Take a guess. Yeah, up to 20% of jobs actually get advertised or posted. 80%, research shows 80% don't get advertised and posted. So now that you know this number, where do you think your odds are greater to land a job? In the 20% or in the 80% market? 80% is what we call the hidden job market, non-visible job market. 20% is the visible job market because it's visible to everybody. Where do you think your odds are greater when it comes to landing interviews? Hidden job market. Yes, your odds of landing interviews are faster and easier in the hidden job market, the non-visible, right? Now, this is why I said 20% of your focus should be on job postings. So remember this strategy. I call it the 80-20 rule. So remember the rule in your job search. 80% of your focus needs to be to access the hidden job market. 20% should be on the job posting. So I already walked you through how to be successful in the 20%. Now, I can't teach you everything about hidden job market because I have like 15, 20 strategies, but I'm going to teach you something that everyone can do this very moment with me. So we're going to do this hands-on. I am going to do a hands-on exercise. So what I want everyone to do is open up the LinkedIn profiles, and also want you to write these numbers down, okay? And what I want you to do is go to your, I'm not going to share my screen just about yet. I will share in a second, because first I want you to write your numbers down. So go to your LinkedIn profile. Go, everybody, if you have access to your LinkedIn profile, I want you to go to your LinkedIn profile, and I want you to go to the section called Analytics. And then I want you to write down two numbers. Search appearance, so that one shows on the further right. It says a number, and then it says search appearance. I want you to write that down or drop it in the chat. I want you to write it and also drop it in the chat so that I know where what everyone's numbers look like for search appearance. And then the second number I want you to monitor is your profile views. Okay. So these are the two numbers you always want to pay attention to. But so write that down. And then I will share my screen, and then I'll tell you why I didn't want to share my screen right in the beginning. Okay, it's 74 or 20. Okay, so so if you want to, the best tool in your job search and your best friend needs to be LinkedIn, okay? Ooh, somebody has 305, 632. Wow, that's amazing. Now, what I like to measure these numbers against is opportunities. So your numbers can, so it's not what your numbers should look like. It's all about measuring these numbers against opportunities. How many people have messaged you for opportunities or even emailed you for opportunities? Now write that number down. Because you can have like 500 search appearance number and 0 person has reached out for job opportunities. You can have 1,000 people viewing your LinkedIn profile and 0 person has messaged you. So we want to stack these numbers against opportunities message. So it can be DMs and it can be emails, because people can actually grab your email and email you as well. So make sure you also check your spam. A lot of these messages could end up in spam. So that's the real way to analyze these numbers, and the way to measure it, to stack it up against your DMs. Okay. Now, this is my LinkedIn profile. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how we're going to leverage LinkedIn to tap into the hidden job market so you outsmart the ATS. By the way, you don't need to reach out to recruiters. Recruiters are already seeking you. They're already looking for you. The only thing is you need to appear in their, you got to be on the radar. You got to be visible to them for them to find you, right? So the search appearance is one tool that, if we leverage it correctly, you want to start appearing in searches, because search appearance, that's what it means. How many times have you appeared in searches? So this is not in real time. This information is going to get updated today around 2 p.m. for me. Think around 2 p.m. for everyone. So then I'll have a different number. The biggest thing we want to use this is for this. So this will tell you how many times you appeared in searches, and then this will tell you for what. Further than this will tell you what companies your searches work for. I don't really analyze this number. I just analyze this number and I look at this. If I'm being found for what I want to be found for, amazing. And if I'm not, I got some work to do on my LinkedIn. So this is what this information is going to tell you. LinkedIn, by the way, is a search engine. Everybody's coming to search for something. So it's actually a search engine. And search appearance means we need to do SEO, search engine optimization, on your LinkedIn profile so that you start ranking higher and higher in searches. Because that's something I'm going to teach you right now to do. And then profile views is how many people viewed your profile. None of these numbers will mean anything if no one's messaging you. So I always say on LinkedIn, the real action happens in the DMs. DM or emails. Okay. So someone can easily get your email and email you as well. So we want to stack that up. I always, when someone emails me, I always ask them, how did they come across me? How did they know me? And it's always LinkedIn. So how do we start making our LinkedIn so that we start appearing higher in searches? First things first is this, your headlines. So if you click on this pencil, and if you go to your headline, you'll be able to, what we want to do here is, so before I teach you how I did it, I like to just get people to do the basics and master the basic to get to my level. So basics would be, we fill your LinkedIn headline with what I like to call is really claim what you're an expert in, the space you're an expert in. So if, like, don't say you're expert in social media, but let's say you are an expert in social media that can help companies increase their sales, because social media is all marketing, right? So maybe you're an expert when it comes to social media, helping a particular type of companies. So then we say, I'm an expert in social media, helping, like, let's say coaches, for example. That's industry niching specific, right? So you do want to kind of like niche down to identify what you're an expert in. Like I say, for example, if you read my banner, it says helping coaches, consultants, service-based business owners generate 100 leads in 24 hours from one single text post. Like that's what I mean by being very niche and specific. And I'm also call myself Miss LinkedIn. And that's branding. We'll get to branding later, but these keywords is what helps the algorithm on the back end for you to appear higher in searches. This is why it's important to have the roles. That's why you need to get really clear on what is the role you want. And then we need to make sure that your entire LinkedIn targets that, right? So this is where you want to drop down subject matter expertise, list that. What are you an expert in? Claim it, list it. Any industry. So I say list what you're an expert in, followed by subject matter expertise that support you're an expert in that particular area. For example, I wouldn't say I'm a surgeon. I would actually say, let's say I'm if I have to explain this, it would be, let me use something everyone's used to, a family doctor, right? A family doctor is just a general practice, not a specialist and not an expert, right? And the family doctor then refers us to specialists. And if you're in Toronto, and good luck getting appointment with specialists. It takes 6 months. So who makes more money, the family doctor or the specialist? So let's say you have a skin issue, you get referred to a dermatologist, right? If you have gut issue or bowel movement, I think it's GC or GIC, I'm getting that wrong. But again, you're being referred to a specialist, right? So if you want to outsmart the ATS and start landing interviews, this is it. You need to start thinking about what are your specialists in. Don't say I'm a family doctor. Same thing with surgeons. There's a general surgeon. That's, again, general. Then we got surgeons who specialize in a particular part of the body. We got a heart specialist, neurosurgeon, plastic surgeon. So who do you think makes more money? The general surgeon or the one that is expert in a particular area of a body? Like neurosurgeon by far is the highest paid surgeon. And it also takes a long time to become a neurosurgeon, right? My goal when I work with clients is you're the neurosurgeon in your field. And that's what we strive to become. You either are already or that's what you want to be. And that's how we want to position yourself. So something to think about, because in the end of the day, you're also going to make more money this way. How I help my clients increase salaries to 40 to 60 to even 100K. Some have even tripled the salaries. This is it. We start to focus on positioning you as an expert to do this, okay? So something for food for thought. If you want to make more money, money has nothing to do with market rate, by the way, okay? You got to put a dollar value on you, which is not the market rate. So we want to showcase that you're an expert in a particular area and then showcase the skills, the subject matter expertise needed for you to know how to do in order for you to be the expert in that, right? For example, I lead with you saw my banner, but what's relatable to you would be I'm an expert in helping you land 6-figure jobs, offers. Now, how will I do that? Job search, hidden job market, interview prep, LinkedIn, resume writing, right? So I'm not saying I'm a resume writer. I'm not saying I'm an interview expert. I'm not generalizing and saying I'm a career coach. I'm being very specific in what's my expertise as a career coach. I actually I do use the word career coach, but I'm being very specific, right? I'm claiming my expertise. Now, expertise has nothing to do with years of experience. So that's what you want to do here. And then you want to maximize what's called a section called top skills. This is introduced in the about section. You can lift, I believe, about 5 top skills you have. And then for each role, I didn't do this, but for each role, you also want to maximize this section. So for example, see here, it says, would you like to no, not my title. Right here, add a skill. We recommend adding 5 top 5 skills. Make sure you do this for every role you've held. Click on it and you'll be able to add these skills. This helps in the back end, the search engine, okay? So you do want to maximize this for every role. List that out. So that's going to get you higher on the ranking. The other thing you want to do is, so we covered the experience. The other big thing that really helps you appear higher in the searches is when you, I'm on the wrong screen. When you go to the skills section, which is like near the bottom, right here. So this section really helps you rank higher in the SEOs, the search engine. Now, you want to make sure strategically, if you see if you look at the screen, you can only see the first two skills. You have to click on show all in order to see all my skills. So I always tell everyone to strategically put the top two skills first. And then you want to reorder, because no one's going to go looking and read all your skills, by the way. So this is where you want to make sure you're able to reorder and you list your top 10 skills. Why? Because we want people to endorse us. Endorsements gets you higher in ranking. So now I'm redefining my LinkedIn and I'm trying to get people to endorse me for these skills. I have over hundreds of endorsements for HR skills, but I need to grow on the job search front. So I want to get people to endorse me for this, right? So make people's life easy to tell them what to endorse you by making sure you have your skills listed and then the endorsements. Now, best thing to do if people want to get, if everybody on this call did this for everybody today, you can easily get 100 endorsements in a matter of minutes. That's the power of leveraging community. So here, if everybody here drops their LinkedIn profiles, don't just drop it, have a message, say, I would love for you to connect with me, also endorse me, and I'll endorse you back. Drop your LinkedIn profiles. It's simple. Click. Here's how to correctly do it, because on the chat of Zoom, if you don't do it this way, it won't be clickable. So if you look at now how I dropped it in the chat, that link is clickable. I just copied my URL from the browser and I dropped it into the chat. So there's 162 people on this call, but let's say even 100 people endorse each other, you can easily get 100 endorsements, and I guarantee you're going to skyrocket and you will see this number get higher. Okay, now, so that's the search appearance. The other thing is, what you want to do is you do want to make sure you use a banner that is very clear. I do have, I give templates away when I'm coaching to my clients on banners that are easily designed with the framework. You don't want to, I see a lot of people just grab stuff from Google Images or Canva, any basic, and that call it a day. You don't want to do that. This is where you can really capture someone's attention to then get them to take action. No one's going to go read your entire LinkedIn profile, by the way. This is why this first, I call this a box. The first box is so important. You want to make sure you have a clear statement that says who you help, what they're going to get, what's the results, right? Then you want to have a clear, nice image. Very clear. We can use AI. By the way, I did mine's from AI. I already had a nice headshot, high quality. I put it in AI to just soup it up. So I used the photo leap to do it. And you want to make sure you do that. You also want to record your name. This is a voice note. Leverage that. This is where we're getting into the 5 senses. See, touch, smell, hear. See is the visual. This is how we can capture the hear. The taste and the touch is the illusion we want to give them as from the words, right? Take them on that journey. So when someone sees your LinkedIn profile, they see your lovely face, you're smiling, it's inviting. They see who you work with, and then you can list all your awards and stuff like that. Like I just list all the publication and stuff. And that alone can capture people's interest to want to message you. Now, if you really wanted to capitalize on LinkedIn, here's what I would suggest. These are the 2 things you must do. The other big thing that I feel people underutilize is the getting engaged. Engaging with other people's content. I don't mean you getting engaged. I mean engaging with people's content. Now, let's say your industry is HR. Okay. Here's a quick way to find, let's do HR. Here's a quick way to find posts. You can type it in the search. I did the hashtag, and normally you'll find any post that has the hashtag HR, or click on post, and then it'll filter through. And then see, this one has a hashtag HR. So that's another way to do it is, or I can just remove the hashtag and just call it HR and then type in and have it filter through post. So what you want to do is start getting super active on LinkedIn. This is how we create awareness that we exist. And that's what's going to get you noticeable really fast compared to applying to jobs online. Start speaking and talking, writing comments on people's posts. You can filter through the subject matter expertise you have, so you can actually write comments on that. You can also attend events. Events are huge on LinkedIn. I've met so many great people through events, LinkedIn audio events. I love the LinkedIn audio events because you get to actually speak with the speakers, get on the speaking panel, and ask questions. So this is one of the best things you can leverage, is look for events and attend them. I would even look for audio events like this. And this is, I'm just using HR as an example, but let's say if it's even social media, you can do the same thing. So pick subjects that you're expert in, you can talk on, so that you can participate and have engagement. Now, it doesn't have to be a subject matter you're interested. It can be also something you're personally interested in. Like maybe you're interested in, I've attended a lot of random stuff because I like to support other people when they're doing it. And I've met a lot of great people through common interest stuff I've attended through audio events. Audio events is one of the best ways to actually meet new people and start building that network of friendships and get jobs, to be honest. So you don't have to ask someone for informational interviews, especially in the era of audio events, podcasts. Another thing you can do is you want to become a raving fan of the people's work you like, because those people are easy for you to talk to, network with, and they'll be able to also recommend you to other people. So this is like the best way to go about your job search in today's market. Okay, any questions? Any questions? I do want to show a resume, a little different resume. If you want to get, and this resume will only work if you're not applying to jobs online, by the way. I just did one for my client. We used some graphics. So imagine sending a resume like this will only work. The graphic stuff only works when you're sending a resume to somebody and it's not ATS. So it's the same resume. So this one's customized to this particular role. This took me 2 hours to do for my client. It's the same resume that I was showing you here, but this one is fine. It's actually word for word customized to this role job posting. Now, not everything we remove, like these are the things we don't remove at all. Someone asked a great question, like, do I give this template? I do give this template. I give you a different template that walks you through. This is what I call your value proposition, your unique selling proposition. This is not a profile summary at all. This is you clearly telling the reader what they're going to get from hiring you. It's totally different concept than profile summaries. So this is a little unique way of grabbing attention. I've done it where I've even used logos. For example, logo like this. This is a rough draft that I'm showing you, but this one has a logo, so we interchange things. So there's little ways also to, this is a 6-figure resume, meaning this person is aiming for almost 300 to 500K role. And if you just pay attention to the wordings, it's so important the language we use and words we use, okay? So if you really want to beat the ATS, honestly, I'm going to tell you is not to apply to jobs online right now. It's not going to get you interviews faster. It's going to slow your progress down. Also, there is 151 people here. This is your opportunity to meet 152 new people. And how many people are engaging with that?
Gurpreet, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You asked if anyone had any
Oh,
questions, and I can
yes.
see there were some really great questions out there in the chat, but I actually had a question.
Sure.
By the way, I am sure that the others in this group appreciate all of the incredibly insightful information that you've provided us today. My question is, I noticed on on your resume sample that there are colors. And so obviously, as someone who knows a thing or two about the ATS myself and knows a lot about how to crack the ATS, I never suggest that people use colors because I thought the ATS does not use colors. But there you are using this beautiful blue color. So I'm just wondering your thoughts about that. Is there something I missed? Is there some technology that's been updated that I'm not aware of? Can you please share your thoughts on that?
ATS. Yeah, thank you for asking. ATS doesn't read graphics and columns, but nothing to do with text color. That's the first time I heard that. People
Really?
just don't I've heard people not recommending people using color just for, oh, keep it black and white. But ATS has nothing to do with color, font colors. No, because it's text is text. The reason I use color, I started to do this what year? Because here's the concept of why I do resumes uniquely. It started with me, myself. I'm not a black and white person. You can tell? Can you tell? My closet color. I'm not black, white, gray. It's not me. My friends can tell you if they go shopping with me, I never let them pick up white, black, gray. Like, come on, color. So that got me thinking, I'm like, my resume doesn't show me. Black and white's not me. So I did started getting really unique with my resume, but I did it, if you look at it, I did it very subtle. So it's not like boom in your face, but it's also like subtle to the point where it grabs attention because it's different. Everyone does it black and white. You don't have to do what everyone does. You can add your own flavor and color. But yes, ATS, by the way, ATS has grown in an advance that there are ATS that can read columns, can pick up graphics and all that stuff. But you're not going to know which company has that and which company doesn't. It's, Taleo is like a mother of all ATS. But instead of, I didn't want to tell you all the different ATS and what they can read. I'm just make your life simple. Black and white, not black and white. ATS reads left to right, but it doesn't pick up things in like headers, columns, and graphics. But color, now you got me thinking. I have a friend, I'm gonna get her to put my resume in her ATS and see. Because color, I've never heard of color being an issue. At all. At all.
That's helpful, Gurpreet.
And
Really,
I've been
I'm
using
surprised you
color,
noticed that.
and I've been using color since 2010. No, way before that. But like my headlines would be a little bit of a color because I'm a color person. But one point I got super creative, and I even had QR code on my resume. QR code, I put it in the header. Now everybody knows what it is. Back then, a lot of people didn't know. So I always prompt someone to I use a lot of little tactics to grab attention. But thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. Now I have to go look into it. But my understanding, and I've implemented so many ATS, font colors has never been something that an ATS doesn't read. Yeah.
And I believe that we have some other questions in the chat. I'm just going to hopefully review them. Now, remember everyone that, and again, we appreciate your participation. The questions that are not going to be, we don't get a chance to answer today, I'll be compiling them and sending them over to Gurpreet, and hopefully she'll have some time out of her busy schedule to respond to them. I will also take the time to respond to them because remember, I am a career strategist here as well. So please don't fret. We'll do our best. But again, your questions will be responded to, and we will be sharing them on our portal. So Gurpreet, if it's okay, let's start to get through some of these questions.
Yes. Are you going to
Because
help navigate this?
Yes, you don't have to worry about that part.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna know whose questions
It's
answer for?
okay.
Perfect,
It's
great.
fine. Yeah, and I apologize for those I'm not getting to. It's not, you know, a specific preference. It's just I'm going through them quickly. And again, we will be getting to them and posting them online. So there was one. Okay, here's the one that I found. It was somewhat recently asked. Actually, I can't find it now, but I will do my best to word this. So someone asked about the importance of saving your resume as a PDF. Now, as a career strategist myself, I recommend this for several reasons personally, and that's because that way it can't be copied by anyone. It's just clearer for people. I know for managers, they prefer this format. But the question was, by saving your resume as a PDF, does it affect, you know, being picked up by the ATS? Because I'm not sure that the answer to that. I wouldn't think so, right?
No, not at all. You do want to save your resume as PDF because also, if you notice, the one other reason, a lot of people prefer it that way anyways. So PDF uh, um, file is readable by ATS. Number two thing is, it removes all that grammar and spelling thing that I was highlighting on mine. And then I don't want to change that because that's just a particular language I want to talk in. That too. And the other thing is, you know, if someone said like, how do you, okay, if everybody wants a guarantee way to beat the ATS, I don't talk about this anymore just because that's not my focus, because I work with people who are wanting to land six figures. So we don't care about the ATS because six-figure jobs are not posted, barely will be posted. So I used to many years ago, and I just saw a question. I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to share this hack. Many years ago, I've done this. I used to tell people to do it and it used to work like magic. So don't hold me against if it doesn't work. I'm just going to get out there, try it, see if it works. One of the best hacks that I used to do, and then I started telling other people to do, was copy paste the entire job posting.
I did that too. I was dying to talk about. I copied and pasted, not to interrupt you, and it worked for me. I had because I was
It
like,
will
I've
work.
got nothing. It worked, but what I did, Gurpreet, I'm not sure about. I love chatting with you, by the way. This is so much fun. I copy and paste the whole thing super small. So this, and I put it
Yes.
in the footer, and I made it white. Now everything else in my resume was tailored for that job, but it actually worked, and
Yep.
I've told people about this.
It works.
It
Okay, good to
works,
know.
but I wouldn't recommend it necessarily because it still felt kind of weird. It felt like I was
But
literally
it's kind
tricking
of
it.
like,
But
you know, you just want to get your resume in front of a reader. So I used to, because my focus isn't the clients I work with, that's not our focus. But because I saw a question, I was like, okay, like what I used to do was see how I would never put anything in a footer, but see how there's last page always has some space left. So imagine copying and pasting, and this is why you want your resume in a PDF, by the way. So I would copy and paste it here and then make it small, super
yeah,
size, and then turn the font into white. So
yep,
I'm just gonna take this for example, okay?
that's what I
I
did.
turn it into white and then it blends in the background, but I convert this into PDF. So no one's going to actually know there's text. So imagine if I'm reading and my mouse is going and let's say I did this, oh, there's text, right? PDF, you can avoid that. So that's the other reason you do want to use PDF if you want to use this hack. It's simply you copy paste the entire job posting, minus the company information, but the job description as well as the requirement. That way you nailed it. And you don't have to worry about anything. So yes. So don't hold, if it doesn't work, let me know. It should work like
Yeah,
a charm, but that's when you then want to convert it into PDF. Yeah. Oh, I'm so
yeah,
happy you did it too.
I
And a lot of people were,
did.
but it's like, and then so I remember someone's like, oh, but that you're misleading. And it's like, no, no, no. If companies is gonna use ATS, you shouldn't hold a candidate against for using it. Like if I realize a candidate did it, I'll be like, well, props to you. I'm copying this. I'm gonna tell other people. I'm gonna rave that candidate. Like that person's so smart, right? So also don't worry if you got caught. I know I always used to get this question, oh my God, what if they find out? Who cares? And if you get ruled out because you did that, why would you even want to work for a company like that? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's interesting because I've worked obviously you want to be honest. You don't want to lie to people, but basically it's about how we package ourselves, how we market ourselves to fit into what they're looking for before we actually get to sit in front of them. When they get when we get to sit in front of them, that's when we can wow them with our personality and our stories to draw them in. But just to get your foot in the door,
Yeah.
these tricks, it's not being dishonest, it's
It's
not
not.
lying. And I
It's
think
not.
people get caught up in that. That's why, we talk about, hacking the ATS. It's like some people are afraid of that. Like, but using the exact word I get, is that plagiarism? No, it's not
Oh,
plagiarism. As long as you can attest that that is something that you have done, and it's making their lives easier, right? It's making, because
yeah.
put yourself in in the shoes of that employer. They don't have time to be figuring, okay, did this person actually? No, they're just looking for certain keywords. It's not plagiarism. We're not tricking them. We're not deceiving them. We're taught, Gurpreet's the expert on this, obviously. Um, we're talking about, understanding the ATS so that way your resume can get in front of a real person. I'm referring back to a comment that was said before. So if I can just add to that, because I think a lot of people are just like, I'm lying, I'm being dishonest. That's not what
Yeah,
it's
you're
about.
not though. You're not honestly, even if you first of all, you're not lying. And there are such thing as you know that saying fake it till you make it. I'm not a big believer of fake it till you make it. I do. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I've done lies, white lies, not lie, white lies. And I want to share what my white lie. I'm not going to share all my white lies, but I'll share one to give you context. And for example, I got asked in the interview if I knew how to use Excel, and I said yes. Then I got asked, am I an advanced user? I said yes. Now that's a lie. So that was the white lie. And now I'm calling it white lie. I know how to use Excel. I wasn't advanced at it, but I said yes because I have the ability to learn it before I will start. If I landed a job, I know I can learn it before I start. So I landed a job, and strategically, I didn't rush to, okay, I can start tomorrow. No, I need to learn Excel. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, got it. Now I need to learn Excel and YouTube. I learned Excel and got myself to I already knew how to use Excel because of school program from my degree, but I wasn't an advanced user. You don't get advanced user if you're not using it all the time, right? So I learned from YouTube. I've done this white light for Excel twice. One time it was, I already had like 5 years in my career, and I got asked by the VP if I know how to do VLOOKUP in Excel. I didn't. I just said, yeah, I do. Why? Because I know I will learn it before I get hired, because I know now they need VLOOKUP. And that's exactly what I did. Went to YouTube and learned it. So that's what I call white lie. I'm not lying completely, but I'm lying a little bit, but I know I can learn it before I land a job. No one's gonna know the difference, right? Unless you have, obviously they're skill testing you. Honestly, the skill test is the same thing. Learn those systems. We live in a world, I wish we can go back to, like, I was reflecting, my first 3 4 jobs all came from one interview. I really don't understand why recruitment has gone so complex. My first job was one interview straight with the hiring manager, hired. My second job, same thing. The hiring manager directly interviewed me, got hired. Third one was 2 steps, but still not the way it is now. Now it's like 3, 5, 6. One is called loop interviews, where it's all done in a loop and it's 6 hours. It's exhausting for the candidate, not for obviously the company, because it's not one person doing 6 hour interview, it's multiple people. But it's, to me, I'm just reflecting, like, how much have we
Oh,
complicated
when you
it?
open this box, is Anastasia's desk?
Oh,
Do not break up
Amanda,
the
if you
box.
can please mute yourself. Sorry, it would just make thank you so much. I know it's really, really crazy. Gurpreet, I want to make sure, and thank you for that.
Yes,
I just want to make sure I get more questions to chat. Again, I
yes.
apologize if we can't get to all of them. They will be answered, I promise. Okay. And I'm sort of just picking and choosing right now. So there's a question about JobScan or other search engines on beating ATS. I would love to hear your feedback on this, Gurpreet. I'm personally going to let you know what I think as well, obviously as an expert in this particular area as well. I personally love JobScan. I don't love the idea of paying for it. But I did find it helpful, and there was a specific technique that I used to really get the most out of it. And it wasn't just looking at percentages, but it was a very methodical approach. And Gurpreet, it worked for me. When I'm working with clients, I share my secret, which I obviously can't share with everyone. You'll have to sign up for a career strategist session with me. But I also feel reluctant to share it with them because I don't want to sound like I'm trying to sell them. But you can sign up for the first month, and then people hack the system where they have multiple emails. But personally, I found it
Yeah.
quite helpful. Gurpreet, what's your advice? Because again, I'm not endorsing them. I'm not trying to sell them,
Mhm.
and it's a kind of tricky thing. But I personally found it helpful. Yeah, I'd love to hear
Yeah.
your feedback on
Yeah,
this.
no, I don't talk about these two as much anymore. Again, my focus of the caliber that I work is different. But yes, I used to give out, hey, use JobScan. It is helpful. There are tons of helpful tools out there. JobScan was, from my research a few years ago, was the best one, and there were other comparable ones as well. But now there's so many. But
Oh,
yes, use those tools. Now there's AI related ones. I would say you again use it as a tool to see how you're stacking up. But the way I taught in the beginning, the first thing of make sure you read, make sure you have the requirements, make sure for word, you know, the way, like, I don't have time to show how I did one of the recent client one. Like, I need a job posting and show it. But honestly, if you have all the right things in your resume, which is the job description. But yes, these tools are meant for you to use them as a tool. Am I, if you want to, I'm not somebody that's going to tell people to create multiple emails and misuse the system, because I wouldn't want someone doing that with me. If you find it valuable, pay for it, use it. It's an investment, right? It's an investment. Don't see scarcity mindset. If you are cheaping out to pay somebody for a tool, you're going to experience the same reality when you're job searching. Companies are going to lowball you too.
and actually, Gurpreet, I'm really glad that you brought that up because, we are so happy to provide this amazing free panels to everyone. And obviously, I want to make what we do here at Blueprint Career Service is accessible. And I think we're so lucky to have you today. But, I realize that there are, in addition, like, because we're getting asked a lot of great questions that are beyond the ATS, but that I think would really, a lot of folks out there would really benefit from working with professionals like us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a cost, but this is how I see it. It's like an investment in your future. You know what I mean? So, because there are lots of free services out there and I love what they do, but
But free is free. It's limited.
it's
You
a
know what
bit
I want to
limited.
say? I
Yeah.
want to add to what you said. You know,
Hmm.
it's an investment. It's
It's
an
an investment.
investment in learning
Exactly.
skills you actually need throughout your entire career.
Yep.
You
It's
need to
true.
know how to sell, you need to know how to write a resume, you need to know all these things. Just like I always like to educate people on, just like you spend money getting the degree, spend money working with learning all these things. Free is
Exactly.
free, but working with an expert in the space, your free is limited, free is basic, but working with an actual expert, uh, free is generalized and basic level. But when you work with somebody, they're actually pulling out a lot of stuff out of you that you probably don't even realize you're so good at, because of the framework that person uses to diagnose your career, get all the information to then show you, hey, look, you're amazing, you're talented, here's your talent, you're underpricing yourself. Like, there's many moving parts to working with somebody. Coaches are, and one thing I want to educate, and there's a question that I do want to address because
Hmm.
I think it's an important question.
Hmm.
Coach is an investment in strategies, frameworks. It's gonna get you faster than free. Free, by the way, you're gonna have to be able to, first of all, it's a lot of time to invest. Number two thing is you have to filter through the advice because not all advice is gonna work. A lot of trial and error. Coach is gonna save you all that. Plus, also, you're gonna learn the tools and skills. It's a skill that you're gonna adapt. And it's something you make an investment maybe one time to learn this, but it pays over time. And then obviously you can always come back to the career coach you work with for other things to work with. But it's just like having a coach for soccer, or you want to lose weight, you go to a nutrition, you want to have clean teeth, you go to a dentist. Why don't you do it at home? Reminds me. It's like the same thing, right?
It
like,
is.
We'll go to dentists, we'll go to salons and get our hair done. Why don't we then do the, I was listening to something that said you were spending money on the wrong things. I was like, oh, this is a video I want to post on LinkedIn. Like, you guys are spending money where you shouldn't be spending money. There's a question I do want to address.
Yeah.
1 page, 2 page.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's been asked several times. I'm really glad that you're asking that.
And
yeah.
I've seen so many 1-page resume, and I just and people are struggling to land interviews. And I look at the resume like, first of all, I would never tell anybody do 1 page. Okay, 1 page is art. It is an art to make a 1-page resume. If you haven't mastered writing 2 or 3-page resume, there's no way you're gonna write 1. So let's do baby steps, because I'm not saying you can't write a 1-page resume, but I'm saying it's a whole level art, because it's all about writing the words, the language. So you can't get everything done in a 1 page. But if you don't even know how to write a 2-page or 3-page resume and land interviews, there's no way you'll be able to kill that 1-page resume, right? So I wanted to tell people not to write 1 resumes. I've seen so many. But don't worry about, if you are 5 years or more, your resume should be between 2 to 3 pages. If you have a little bit higher, can go a little bit 3 or 4 pages. No one's gonna there's no rank point systems of, oh, Candy has 4-page resume. Okay, eliminate it. Like, that's not a criteria of selection. But if you can capture someone's attention with your resume, the key is to land interviews. I guarantee you can't land interviews with 1 page if you haven't mastered how to write a basic level resume first. So don't get caught up in the pages. I know there's a lot of advice about writing 1 pages, but this is where I have a problem with that advice. If you're not educating people on the art that it's required to write that 1-page resume, you're failing people and setting them up for failure. And that's actually what's happening, is people are listening to advice and trying to create 1-page resume, but then they read like, I don't know what you've done, because there's only 2 or 3 points listed, and they're just job description. You will have to be a word master to kill the 1-page resume.
Yeah, I agree. You really, it have to be, and their margins would have to be super duper small. I mean, even for folks, like, I've worked with folks who have very little, at least what they believe to be the very little work experience. They may be new to the professional working fields, and they think that they have nothing, but there's actually so much that people have to offer. But Gurpreet, yeah, definitely, I agree with you. I always say, as long as you put your most important information on the first page, and it's chronological, and you provide obviously your contact information, because the first page is the most important.
Yes.
But 1 page is ridiculous. I wouldn't go longer than 2 page. Now there are exceptions, like if you are applying to Government of Ontario jobs, there's a booklet, and it says that it can be. But
yes,
you shouldn't go back further than 10 years. And if you feel like you've experienced beyond that, you can know that is relevant, put it on your cover letter. Gurpreet, can we maybe answer one more question? We have 1 minute left. It's so hard to cut things off.
I'm good with time. Yeah.
Did you want to maybe wrap it up with some final thoughts? And I have some final thoughts as well.
I'm good with asking questions.
Oh, you are.
With time, I can stay a little bit longer to answer.
Okay. How much time do you feel that you'd be able to provide extra time? Another 5 minutes?
I was gonna say I can do another 30 minutes. But whatever you're comfortable with.
How about a somewhat of a medium? 10 more
Sure.
minutes?
Yeah.
Is that okay,
Yeah, I'm
Gurpreet?
good. Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks so much. So we have 10 more minutes, everyone. We're going to extend our chat. Gurpreet has been incredibly generous. Gurpreet, did you want me to find some questions or did you want
Yes.
me to? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I
Um,
only saw that one page, like, oh my God, this is one I have to address because people are writing one page and then that's the problem why they're struggling. Because that one page is honestly, you gotta be a master in words to write a one page. So I don't recommend it. I would
yeah.
never recommend it.
I wouldn't either. It doesn't matter how perceived little experience that you have. One question that seems to be going on throughout, like resonating, or it seems to be expressed in different ways, is how do I access the hidden job market? And it's interesting because I feel like you did address this, but
But yeah, I
it,
can go a little bit more deeper into
if
that.
you could, yeah, if you could do that, I would appreciate that. Gurpreet, how I personally see it is one of the challenging things about job searching is that, with regards to accessing the hidden job market, you can give tips and tricks and things like that, but everyone's path is different. And I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
you, Gurpreet, but over
Mm-hmm.
the years, working with diverse individuals, people have accessed it in so many different ways. And the way that I see my role, Gurpreet, it's like I offer ideas and it's really up like as to how to access the hidden job market. And I love that you're backing up all of your information with statistics, but then it's like it's up to people what works for
Yeah.
them,
Yeah. Find your
so
groove. Like
yeah.
there's so many ways. Like I teach 15, 20 different strategies to access a hidden job market. But I always say I'm giving you everything so you pick and choose which one you want to do, right? Now, one of the ones I never give
Hmm.
is informational interviews and coffee chats. It's like no, no.
Interesting. I'd love to hear more about this, Gurpreet, because we've had, and what is your take on this? Because I
Okay.
love suggesting, I don't call them information interviews anymore, but just connecting with interesting people and finding out more, because I've actually found them to be invaluable tools. But I would love to hear more
Okay,
about this from
so
you.
I'm gonna use you as an example,
Please
right?
do.
Um,
I'll be your guinea pig, Gurpreet,
this
any
is
day.
this is whole organic conversation, right?
Mhm.
So somebody dropped my name to you.
Yes.
You contacted me and I was like right away, yes.
It's amazing, actually.
And then we did a Zoom call. And was it information interview?
Well, in the sense, I hope I'm not being too analytical. I had an opportunity to find out a little bit more about you, and had the opportunity to find a little bit about us. But I wouldn't call it, so in a sense, you could call it an information interview, but it was more like
But like
just chatting.
again, exactly. That's why I don't like informational interviews. They're not organic, right?
Yeah.
I'll get into I will pull I can rip the information interviews apart so many ways. But my biggest thing is best way to connect with somebody. This is why I don't even recommend networking as a tool when you're looking for a job because networking takes time. People don't know how to network. You don't use networking when you're looking for a job. Networking is a lifestyle that you need to incorporate and build and make it a lifestyle so you're constantly meeting people and organically like nurture those relationships, right? Why we're this is what I mean. Like we got on a call, there's you reaching out to me for something, someone recommended it, we got on a call, but we end up talking so much because you're doing a lot of the work I do, we have something in common and we're speaking on common things. I don't know, honestly speaking, I just visited a little bit of your profile, but I don't know anything to say, oh my God, like, let me ask you a question about UFT or let me ask you a question about this, nothing. It was so organic, but
It's
that's how
true.
you build relationships is organic conversation. Too many people, this is why I don't like hacks and tips. There's no hacks to human beings. It's human beings. Speak to them on something that is relatable, right? Now, information interviews, to me, I never understood that concept. Like when I first heard it, I was like, how does it make sense? Like, why would
Didn't
someone
make
want
sense.
to give
Yeah.
me
I
time
I didn't
to
make
interview
sense.
them?
it didn't make sense to me either. The idea was thrown out to me when I was a student at George Brown College, and at the time I was much younger, and there was this much older person, and she was like, information interviews. I was like, I need a job. I don't need coffee. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. So I
How
can
is
totally
that
relate.
going to help? First of all, so I never used it. Now, more and more, now I tell people, listen, you want to do informational interviews, you might as well start a podcast. But in the era of podcasts, it's already done for you. Just go listen to the podcast. I really didn't I never understood the information into it, but now I just tell people, listen, no one has time and day to give you to do information into it. So the conversion rate of those are very, very low. You're going to have to send 100 requests before you even get someone to reply back to you. The person that's going to even do the information interview, the only thing they will probably do is just referral. And that's it. That's nothing. Referral means HR will call you and that's it. The HR is doing a favor and that's it. It would never go beyond that one call. And that's it. It's a waste of time, my opinion. This is just my humble opinion. But I just like to encourage people to just start thinking for themselves. Just because someone's dropping something doesn't mean you go do it. Take a step back, ask yourself, does it make sense for you? I didn't do the networking. I remember when in the job market, network, do this, do information chat, but it didn't make sense. I started hammering on LinkedIn. I started meeting people. I actually, honestly speaking, one of the best ways that the best thing we have in today's world is called social media. Why are influencers booming, right? Why is some people getting picked? Like, Anne, you said when you guys presented me a couple other people to forgot your boss, let's say the head person who makes the final decision, he didn't look at anybody. He's like, nope, that's the one, right? Branding, the image, that's the power of LinkedIn. You don't have to chase anybody. You can attract everyone to come to you. I don't chase anybody. I honestly speaking barely send connection requests. My connection requests are flooded. Why? I pump content. I want to work smart, not harder and not long hours. So that's why when I talk about hidden job market, I give 15, 20 different strategies. Find a group, right? The other thing you can do is there's one I teach. It's one of like I call my quick dirty way to land interviews. It's quick and dirty, but the pre-work isn't quick. But best way to honestly, you really want to network is start engaging with people's content on LinkedIn or other social media, become their raving fans. You don't even need to ask for a job. That person will always name drop you. I refer so many people to people don't even know I'm referring. My name got dropped to you. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to ask for it. People were willing to do it when you show what you can do. So show, don't tell, leverage LinkedIn, use the power of that. Coffee chats, it's like when people ask me, I don't do coffee chats. If I don't know you, I'm not doing it. Why? I know you just want something from me. Everybody wants to pick my brain. Pay me money, man. Pick my brain, pay me money. No problem. But I do sessions on LinkedIn. I said, listen, what do you want to meet me for? I always question when someone wants coffee chat. And it always comes down to, I want to pick your brain. I'm like, attend my LinkedIn audio event, attend when I'm doing an event, comment on my post, pick my brain that way. But I'm not going to drive and meet you so you can pick my brain. That's not a mutual beneficial for me, right? If you're going to ask someone to meet you, if you do coffee chats, it's got to be worth both parties. It can't be you get something and the other person gets nothing, right? I don't do it. I don't ask for it. Do I meet people? Have I met people from LinkedIn? Yeah, but we built a relationship to then, let's go meet, right? My clients have turned into friends. But friendships, I don't like word networking. I like the word friendships. And honestly, the power we have today, we never had before, is everybody has accessibility. You got this, you're privileged. But now how you use this, that's on you. I choose to master LinkedIn. I chose to put my time into writing content, Yes, because I became an entrepreneur, I need to get more visible. Honestly, that's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It's why I'm able to teach different ways to job search, because of all the stuff that I had to learn as an entrepreneur, the importance of visibility, branding, getting in front of the right people, showing what you can do instead of telling, content writing, all that stuff is why I teach it to career professionals, because I wish I knew all this than all the generic advice. I always say 99% of career advice is so generic and fluff. Everybody's saying the same thing. Don't follow those 99%. Go find the rare gems that are actually saying something different. Those people have cracked something. But majority of people are just passing on the same advice they got, and they're passing on the same thing. But but where's the innovation? There are only few people that are innovative in this space, and those are the only few people you want to follow. And yes, there are people charged. The free are not innovators. The free stuff is amazing because those people have even worked in the corporate world. So my 2 cents on the free stuff is, again, I'm not going to knock free because I've learned a lot of stuff as an entrepreneur from free stuff. Don't get me wrong there, but you got to know which free to follow. Free
Yes,
will
and
get you somewhere, but then be able to get to a level where you have the money to invest.
yes, and I would even take that further. Like I agree with you again, working in the nonprofit sector, there are some really amazing people out there who do this for free, but there are so many, no offense to, because just there's so many that maybe aren't necessarily, the best that for what you're looking for. So one of the benefits of actually I'd like to share with everyone working with us is that because I'm so well connected with employment counselors, with those free that provide the resume and cover letter, all that free stuff, I know exactly who to refer you to, who those people are who actually do a really good job. But it is really hard to weed through everything that's out there, and also finding the right fit. And I think it is, I really appreciate, you know, being innovate, being able to be innovative because you're right, Gurpreet.
You
And
do. You have
what
to
might
be.
work for you, right? Like might not work for someone else. But Gurpreet, I'm so sorry. We really should wrap this up.
I want to
Um,
share one strategy
please, please, love it.
that is I call it is Wendy Williams strategy, because she did this, and it's something I was already telling people to do, but then I watched her documentary and it's like, oh, she did it. She did something a little bit different. She When she started her career, she was already working in a radio station, but there's one that she really wanted to get into, and it's like if she got into that, boom, she's set, right? So she had an eye on that ball. And what she did was every day she went to that radio station's office. She'll sit there in the lobby waiting to get even 2 minutes of the decision maker's time, the head of the station. Nothing happened. 2 weeks go by. Now this head guy approaches her. He's like, the anchor called in sick, that's running, and we need you to replace her, right? And she's like, oh my god, yeah, yeah. And he's like, okay, when? He's like, right now, like right now, we're going in air in 1 minute,
Hilarious.
right? So she runs and gets in the anchor seat and she does her thing. And then she ended up creating because she kicked ass in what she did in that segment she covered. They created more, and then eventually she had her own show. But that's the power of I don't want to say being in the right place in the right time. It's kind of that, but she made sure she was always there waiting for an opportunity. This strategy, by the way, beats ATS. It beats all the online game, right? I do tell people pick your absolute dream company, that one dream company that you just want to, like how she picked that one station she dying to work for, and this is what she did. I call it do the same thing, or even hang out at coffee shop right next to the head office every day if you can invest a little bit of that coffee money. Get in front of that company, because coffee shop people from that company are going to go to the nearest coffee shop. And research shows every day, if you go to the coffee shop at the same time, you're going to run into the same people. Naturally, what's going to happen is you're start acknowledging and doing the nod thing. And then that nod turns to hi. Then the hi turns to how's it going? And then the conversation starts, right?
Oh, that's great. That's hilarious. I love this. I am hoping to absorb everything that you provided us with regards to information because I've learned so much from you. And I'm just so excited to be able to chat with you, not do an information interview.
Honestly, you're somebody I would always refer people to. Hey, go to Anne for career services in U of T, because it's really rare to find people who work in a nonprofit and are actually good in this space. You're like
Yeah.
that rare gem, and
Aw, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh. Well, you're my shining star. I mean it. I really do. I can't stop smiling. My cheeks are hurting me, Gurpreet. Otherwise, I would go on for another hour. But really, this is all your fault because you're
I
making
this
me
is what
smile so
happens
much.
every time I go live. I plan to go for an hour, I end up doing it for 3-4 hours.
Anyway, I'm just having so much fun. But I truly hope that this was informative for everyone. So I'd like to say thank you, Gurpreet. You've been incredible. This has been amazing. This session has been recorded. Thank you, everyone who has participated. Please do reach out to me. Gurpreet also suggests that you follow her on LinkedIn, but
Yeah,
please do
I
reach out to
don't
me as
have
well.
connection. So, disclaimer, guys, don't send me a connection request without a note because I've already maxed out my connections. I do have to make some room to accept new people. But the key is to add a note. I can reply back, and that allows you to have conversation with me. You don't have to connect with me to speak with me. But that's a little hack of you can make sure you do this through a desktop. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically you have to, before you send someone a connection request, it will pop up your screen and then it says either send right away or add a note. Make sure you always add a note. Get in the habit of doing that because there are people who have maxed out
True.
their connection requests. You're not going to know that. And then
Yeah.
that person, there's no way to communicate, right? So hit the follow and make sure if you want to speak with me, just hit the connection, but add a note. So then I can reply to it, and you can speak to me without being a premium member. The InMail. You don't need InMails to talk, by the way.
Yes, and I appreciate that, Gurpreet. If anyone else would like to send me a note, send me a message, I think I pretty much accept anyone. But please do
I
write
used
a
to do that. Now I just can't.
well, you can't because literally like massive on LinkedIn. I mean,
But I
you
spend
really
time
are the
to
queen of LinkedIn.
go clean out because I want to accept new connections. So I'm constantly now I'm gonna get my VIA to go, but I can't get my VIA because she's not gonna know who to remove. So I have to like keep it clean. So lesson learned was in the beginning, yes, accept whoever's connections you want, but then eventually get in the space to be a little picky because you don't want to max out the limit unless LinkedIn turns and removes that limit thing. But until then, there is a limit of only 30 connections, and LinkedIn will not even tell you the person you're trying to connect to can accept connections.
I will remember that. Again, even more helpful information, Gurpreet. It's incredible. Okay, on that note, again, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please do reach out to us on LinkedIn, reach out to us on Blueprint Career Services, sign up for our amazing other offerings, and have a wonderful day. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Gurpreet.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.